I hear someone walking upstairs and I'm like, I get kind of like scared, like, oh, what? Like I'm thinking like Mr. Peach, right? Hey, beautiful, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, hi, my name is Alexis Jayda and welcome. Today's notification shout out goes to LOL, it's Lexi. Thank you so much for all your love and support. Te quiero mucho, thank you so much. If you guys want to be part of the notification squad, all you have to do is just like the video, hit subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and leave a comment down below, and your comment can possibly be the next notification shout out. So I just want to thank you guys so much for all your love and support. Seriously, I feel like I don't give little Lex enough grace, but like you guys say, I feel like it's very hard when I read my journal entries and for me not to be upset because I already know the outcome. So it's really hard to be patient with myself when I already know the ending. So I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for telling me, like, Lex, be patient with yourself. Don't be so hard on little Lex. Like, stop calling yourself names. Stop saying this about yourself. And I think I have to remember that because there's a lot of times where I get so frustrated where I'm literally just like, and I get so pissed. My day is just messed up because I'm going back to that place and I'm like, oh, how could you have not seen this? How could you have not seen the signs? And it's just really, in a way, so twisted to be able to go back in time in your brain, because there's one thing of remembering it a certain way, and there's another when you're reading the details and you can go back to you writing that journal entry and it just takes you back, and it's just so crazy and it's just so gut-wrenching and it's just a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for reminding me and letting me know that, hey, it's okay. Like, you know, this is a safe spot. And I feel like at times too, I feel like I have to be mean to myself first so that if anyone wants to comment and be like, you were dumb, oop, beat you to that. So I just got to be more patient with myself. So I just want to say thank you guys so freaking much. And I love you guys. You guys are amazing. So for today's story time, this is going to be leading on to where I last left off. This one's going to be a little bit more, this is going to be kind of like a mini series inside the Nanny series. A lot of you guys were commenting like, is the Nanny series ending? No, it is not. It takes a good minute for it to get there. So yeah, a lot of you guys were like, I'm pissed. And I'm like, no, no. It was just, I was at that point like, I'm done. I had to stay up really late because I have not been able to record. The whole house is quiet. Turn off the heater. My toes are gonna be frozen, but it's okay. I know you guys don't mind the noise of the heater, but it bugs me. It's just like, ee. So when I'm editing like 3, sometimes 4-hour footage, and I have it in my ear, I can hear it, and I'm just like, I know people who are wearing their AirPods or freaking headphones or whatever, listening in the car, they can hear that background noise and like, girl, oh, turn that off. So let me know what you guys are doing, if you guys are driving, if you guys are cleaning, if you guys are cooking, if you guys are watching me with somebody. Let me know down below. I would love to know. And let me know what you guys are eating, okay? Leave that down below as well so I can get some ideas and just, I love it. I love when you guys are like, I'm eating this, or try it with this, or try this combination. I'm like, damn, I didn't even think about that. So leave it down below. Today's video, I'm going to be using the new ColourPop collection as well. I saved it for story time. So ColourPop was so sweet and sent me their whole Valentine's, I always say times, and I swear a lot of y'all are like, it's with an S, it's with an N. This is the XOX Secret Admirer. I'm so freaking excited to try out everything. And I thought it'd be really cool to try out the products with you guys. Instead of a mirror with this collection, they did a hairbrush. I'm gonna give that to Mija. But they should have did like some lips or something, some labios. That would have been cute as a mirror. Can you imagine? ColourPop, hire me already, y'all. Like, I will, hire me. I swear I'm always giving them like ideas. I'm like, do this, do this, do this, do this. And either y'all better hire me or I'm just gonna start my own. But they sent me a lot of great stuff, you guys, so this is what we're gonna be using today. My coupon code for them is currently not working, but my links are. So if you guys want to click a link down below, they are affiliated, so I do receive a small commission. So when my coupon code works, I'll let you guys know. That's what I'm telling you guys. You guys are such amazing FAMBAM. I didn't even know my code wasn't working, and you guys are hitting me up where like, Lex, it ain't working, fix it, let me know. And I'm like, thank y'all. So you guys are just amazing. And when I say you guys rock, vibe with me harder than my own peoples, I just want to say thank you so freaking much. Like, you guys are literally like my family, and I literally freaking mean that. Like, you guys ride hard for me. I have family who fake the funk, and I can see right through that bullshit. And then I'll ask them too, like I'll be quizzing them, like, oh yeah, what did I say? Or yeah, and I showed this, and they're like, all red and stuff. Like, don't fake it. And y'all are freaking awesome. And I don't just say it just to be like, oh, you know, thanks you guys. No, like I mean that. Like, I mean it. Y'all are amazing. Everything that I use will be linked down below, so make sure to check that out as well. All right, let's begin. Okay, we're leaving off from the Nanny series. I have a Nanny series, and I have it from when it first began all the way to now. So I would highly recommend watching the first one, so you're kind of caught up and kind of understand like why I hate this bitch. And so it's not so confusing. I have had some FAMBAM comment, and they're like, hey, why do you hate her? Like, give her a chance. And it's like, That's another thing too. Sometimes I have you guys commenting, you guys are like, Lex, why did you do that? And it's like, you guys just get like a small portion of like certain things. And I'm like, y'all are understand once I go more into it, why when I talk about this person, I'm so irritated, you know? And sometimes I was just a little bitch too. So it has its waves, okay? And I have to make the tamales today. So I'm just like, all right, so I'm gonna answer a quick question right now. A few of you guys were messaging me, asking me if I talk to Tommy now, and we're cordial. I did fight with her over the weekend because when I do story times, a lot of feelings get brought up, and I'm human, and it's really hard for me not to want to call on these people and be like, hey, yo, use a bitch, or it just brings feelings, and like certain things start to click, and it's like, I forgot about this, or because I feel like when you go through so much and it's just like constantly, there's a lot of things that you forget because you want that person in your life. And you're like, you know what, I'm gonna excuse it, we've been through so much. So you tend to forgive like a lot of bull, and then when you look at it, you're like, okay, this isn't okay. Anyways, long story short, we're cordial, right? And so when you guys were commenting, like, she set you up pretty much. And I know I had said it too, like, yeah, she had set me up. But at that time, I felt like a child, and I felt like anytime someone did something to me, I felt like it wasn't valid completely because they were an adult. And you get in that mindset of like, the adult's always right. And you feel like you're just a kid throwing like a fit. And you're like, oh, like, you set me up like this, right? But then I really started thinking about it, and I noticed that Tommy did do a lot of things like that. So again, we're cordial, and we had our argument, and even though people apologize and like, oh, it happened a long time ago, and they always want to throw it in your face like, but you're okay now, like, you're doing good, you turned out good, like, because of me, bitch, not because of you, because of me. Did you not see or did you not hear like all the bull crap that I had to go through from my family and this and this and this and this? Like, it wasn't like, ah, like, but you're okay, like, you're okay, like, it makes everything go away. It doesn't. So you, Tommy. It brought up a lot. I was in a little funk. It's really hard. I know I feel like I get in like a few funks, but it's just really hard because even though I'm okay now, it's very hard to go through a bunch of emotions, and some people try to excuse it, or they want to be like, well, you're doing good now, or I got my karma, and it's like, I don't know. Y'all let me know. Am I wrong for still wanting to be upset about it? I don't know. A part of me is like, let's just let it go. Like, people aren't gonna understand until it's them, or they probably do feel like they got their karma back, so they don't want to hear it. So yeah. We're not going to that birthday party, but I was just, lots of things were clicking, and it's so crazy, you guys, because stuff like that actually happens still, where it's just one of those things where when the puzzles just start to come together and you're like, you bitch, and things just start to make sense, and you're like, ugh. But it's okay though, because God is good, and my circle is literally keeps continuing to be cleaned, and I feel so. I keep going. I'm like this, but it's because, like, again, you guys, I'm so excited just to be talking to you guys and hanging out with you guys. You guys are my people. So when I finally do get to sit down and cheese me up, I'm like, brrr. Tommy drops me off. I go in the house and I talk to Baltimore. I hear the person upstairs, comes down, it's her boyfriend. I ask her, like, does Mr. Peach know? You know, she's like, oh yeah, he knows. So she is telling me that she needs a couple things done and she needs me to unpack the boxes and move this stuff here, do this, do that. And I ask her, like, where's my check? She goes, it's right here, but I'm not gonna give it to you until the end of the day. Like, I'm not just gonna give it to you. Like, what if you just run off when I'm upstairs? And I'm thinking in my head, like, okay, that's valid, because I do want to just take off on you, bitch. So I'm like, okay. And I see her put it like in her jacket pocket. So I'm like, okay. So I'm just cleaning, doing what I'm supposed to, undoing the boxes. Her and her dude are just chismeando, doing their own thing. I'm trying not to pay too much attention because men like him would scare me, because they tend to talk like bien macho and come out very intimidating and kind of just like looking around with like a beer in their hand, like just gives me like this really nasty like cockroach feeling where, like, you know, a cockroach is near and you're just like, ugh, like you just get like chills. I constantly felt like that around this man, where like my back started to feel weak in the sense of like, ugh, people like that make your back hurt like that, stay away from them. It just means evil. It's just not good. So I was just trying to stay out of the way. Anytime they would come into the room, I was okay. I had another task over there, and she was kind of like watching me, and I think she like understood that I was not comfortable, so she wasn't really saying much. She was actually acting pretty nice, which was very rare for Baltimore. So she wasn't really saying much. Like when I'd be like, and go somewhere else, she wasn't saying anything, which I really liked, because I was just like, I didn't want to be around him. I did not like him. He gave me asco, makes me like, ugh, I didn't like it. So as I'm cleaning, I notice that Tommy is messaging me, asking me again, what time will I be done? And I told her like around 5. That is the full, you know, shift that why. And she was telling me like, okay, she wanted to make sure and that she was going to be around there at that time, and that she didn't want me going somewhere else in the meantime, that I needed to be there. I was just like, okay, Tommy, whatever. I wasn't trying to fight with her because I didn't want to piss her off and her be like, you know what, I don't even have to watch you, get out. Even though I was still upset at Tommy because how me and my mom argued. And even though me and my mom fought a lot, I love my mom. I'm always scared of death coming and me and my mom not be on the best of terms. A lot of the times, especially during the times of what was going on, I was always freaked out of something bad might happen. And every time we would fight, I would regret it because something could happen. And especially because my mom has a medical issue. So I was always scared of something happening, and the last thing me and my mom were arguing about was something stupid. So in my head, I'm mad at Tommy and I'm annoyed with her, and I'm just like, you're so stupid. Why, you know, why couldn't you just wait till she got out? Or why did you even have to tell her? Like, what was the point of you telling her? I can kind of see why, where it's like, okay, I'm watching your kid, this is what happened, and her just be honest. Because like, what if I slipped up and told my mom instead and was like, no, this is what happened, and her be like, what, you know? So I was constantly back and forth in my head, like, well this, well that, well this, well that. So I tell her like, I'm not gonna go anywhere. Like, yes, of course I'm gonna be here. She's like, okay, cool. I continue to do what I'm doing, and it feels like not even 2 hours have passed by and Tommy's messaging me again. I noticed that I keep looking at my phone a lot because Baltimore comes over and she's like, is everything good? Like, what's going on? Because I'm just checking my phone and getting kind of irritated because Tommy keeps messaging me, asking me, where are you at? I'm here. What do you mean? And I'm getting annoyed with Tommy where I don't even give her enough time to say what she wanted. I'm like, question mark, hello, question mark, yes. Cause I'm just annoyed. Like, why are you bugging me? Like, what is going on? I finally just asked her, like, do you need me to just come home? Like, do you want to just pick me up? Like, is this too much? Like, why, what's going on? Like, why do you care? Because there was times like when my mom was in trouble and I would have to stay with Tommy, and well, I didn't have to stay, but I stayed with Tommy and she didn't care where I was. So I'm like, why all of a sudden, like, what's now? What's going on? Like, why are you bugging me so freaking much? Like, is it because you're not gonna be able to pick me up later? Like, what's going on? I hate when people would beat around the bush and not just tell me like up front what was going on, because I can already smell it. I can already smell something's going to come out. So just push it out. What is it? So we can work through it. What is it, you know? So she ends up just telling me nothing. I just wanted to see if you were still there. And kind of just tells me that she is just watching me and not to mess with her trust. And I'm like, okay, with like an annoyed face, like slanty face, because we didn't have those cool emojis, right? So just like annoyed face, okay? Like I'm annoyed. So Baltimore is like, is everything okay? Like, I'm gonna take this out of your pay. She was trying to joke, but I knew she was kind of like being serious. Her dude chimes in and he says like, yeah, you should. She's just on her phone. Like, that's why she came over here, just to be on her phone, like, you know, to take some money out. She looks at him and she tells him pretty much like, mind your business, like, shut up. I just continue to finish up. I'm taking the boxes apart, putting them to side, taking the boxes apart, putting them to side, and just taking some things out. She's trying to ask me like, oh, like, how have you been? Like, is everything good? And I'm just trying to keep it like, because I don't like you. I don't like you. I'm going through I don't want someone to act like they care when they don't. We already established this person does not care, right? So she's telling me that I should give Mrs. Peach a call and just talk to her. Come on, like, life's too short. Just talk to her, work things out. And I'm like, no, like, I don't want to work for them anymore. And she's like, just talk to them, and just to shut her up and get her away from me. I was like, okay. I just didn't want to hear her anymore. I look at my phone again because I swear I could feel it already getting ready to tingle, and it's Tommy. And she says, you know what? I'm gonna need to pick you up and get ready. I'll be there in 5. It wasn't even like her asking me. It was like she was telling me. So I didn't want to argue with her just because how the message was. And I was like, all right. She was already bugging, like, oh. I go up to Baltimore and I'm like, hey, I have to cut it short. Is there any way I can come back and finish later? And she's like, yeah, that's okay. I kind of figured that you have a lot going on. And I'm like, yeah. I think because she could just see I was so stressed and I was like on the verge of tears because I was so annoyed, because I'm so used to doing whatever the hell I want sometimes. And Tommy was just being super annoying. You can come back, you know, later if you want to finish. And I'm like, yeah, and my check. And she's like, well, you're not gonna take your check, like, you didn't finish. And I was like, okay, like, duh, right? Like, duh, Lex. So I'm mad. I want to cry because I don't want to have to come back. I'm annoyed because Tommy is just, I don't know if she's just trying to play the role of, you know, trying to be my mom. I don't know if it's because she doesn't want to come back later. I don't know if it's because she's tweaking. I don't know what the heck is going on with Tommy. So I'm ready to like argue with her when she comes back. Like, I'm just ready to just argue. So I'm getting ready, and by the time I could even tell Tommy anything, she's already outside. I could already hear her car. You know how sometimes you already just know someone's car, like how it comes by, or they're bumping hella loud and you're like, that's them. Well, that was Tommy's car too. I told Baltimore, okay, I'll be back. I'll be messaging you. I'm sorry. And she's like, está bien, está bien. And like rubbing her belly, where she's like, it's not, there's nothing to rub yet. I am super annoyed. And as I'm walking to the car, I can see that there's someone in there with Tommy. And I'm like, who the hell is this person? As I'm getting closer, it's a friend that I knew because of the people that I would hang out with. It was the older brother. I look at him and I'm like, because I'm kind of confused. I'm trying to like put everything together. Like, so I go in the back and it's his brother, and that like I go to school with, and I look over and I'm like, I'm just confused. I feel like I'm in a daze because I'm like, what the hell is going on? And Tommy is like, yeah, so you pretty much would like rather be with us than working, right? And I'm so annoyed because I'm like, oh my gosh, like she really picked me up so that she can have a D appointment. That's like the first thing that comes to my head, because this guy only liked hanging out with her when she would provide like, you know, drinks and stuff like that, and like hang out, and she was just like a sugar mama, but they were like the same age, right? I'm just fuming. He knew my ex, so it was like, no, like no. I wasn't even thinking about anything stupid. I wasn't like, ooh, you brought one for you and for me, like I wasn't like that. I was just pissed off because I hate when people play with our money. Like, I really do. I really hate it, and I just wanted to be done with the peaches. I was just supposed to work, and that was supposed to be it. I felt like it was every time that I was going to be done with this family, it was like another thing ringing me in. And I was just so annoyed because I felt like she was too grown to be acting the way she was. There were so many times where I wanted to slap Tommy and be like, oh, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, honestly, like, what is wrong with you? You have kids. What are you doing? It was like she was going through a midlife crisis, and it was just like, I just wanted to just so bad because she would get so intoxicated. Like, I had to take care of her. I was scared of going to sleep and her like choking on her vomit. Like, it was just, she took advantage of these weeks and was just too comfortable, and it just annoyed me. So I look at her and I kind of just give her that look. So we gotta name these two people because they're gonna be part of the story. So we'll name him Scott and Henny. Henny wants to make like a face like, oh, you even want to steam me? I looked at him and I said, no, not really. Okay, Tommy's pissed because I'm being rude, and she goes, Alexis, don't be like that. Don't be ugly. And I said, okay, well, I want to be ugly. She's like annoyed, starts to light her cigarette, passes one to Scott, and Scott just starts laughing like, yo, Shody, wild. Like, how does that make me wild, Scott? How? So I just slump back. I'm annoyed. The music is going. My hair is blowing in the freaking wind, and I'm just like, really? This is what we're doing? Like, this is why you came and picked me up early from my shift? This is what we're doing? Like, are you serious? And she just tells me, buckle up. I'm so annoyed because I'm like, this is what we're doing. I know to others like, what? Like, you're gonna have fun? Like, what? Like, no. Like, she had talked like she was going to, like, we're gonna do your school. I'm gonna make sure this. I'm gonna make sure that. Where's my nail? Puta, again? So if you were like, oh, Lex, that sounds like fun, not to me. Not to me. I feel like I was traumatized at that point. I feel like it was just too much male interaction. I didn't want to be around it. I felt dirty. I felt disgusted with myself. Like, I was already beating myself up in my head, like how I put myself in that situation with Skillet. I was just annoyed and pissed off. Like, this could have went wrong, this could have went wrong, and just like so many emotions, like so much of everything that I felt like it was just like, it was too much. It was too much. And I was just ready just to like KO. I wanted just to clock out and be like, that's it. Like, I'm done. Like, it ends here. It ends. It's too much. And it has to end here because my mind was running so much, and a lot of the times I feel like so many chunks were missing from here and there where I would just zone out and not even pay attention because I was just in la la land, just making my own. If I was in a movie, this was going on, or this and that. Like, I was just in my own world, to the point like sometimes people would be like, why are you making those faces? Because I was literally like talking back, where I was so in my head where I didn't want to be there no more. I just didn't understand like how Tommy fed me such like a good line that I was really expecting it to be like that. I was really expecting for it to just be like cute and like her to kind of be like motherly, and it was just bad. Henny was trying to talk to me, trying to do a little small talk. Tommy's driving, and Hennessy's asking her like, oh, we're gonna stop and get some more because like we're running out, right? Referring to like we're gonna re-up on the beer, because I guess where they were like waiting for me, because they were bitching and complaining how like, oh, we were supposed to be back at the crib, but Tommy wanted to give you your time to get your check, and like trying to blame me that like, oh, I was the reason why. And it was, I don't understand why they couldn't just have the fun and then come get me later, but it's because she knew she was gonna get messed up, that she was gonna forget about me, because she was going through her own troubles, which I want to speak about because I'll be respectful, but she just wanted to like F off. And what makes me mad is like, okay, if you wanted to F off so bad, then you should have just like left me alone. I was probably a lot better off by myself and being able to go back to the house and just chill. We didn't have to party together, and that's the thing that makes me mad, where it's like we didn't have to hang out together. Like, she made it where like we had to hang out together because she needed that like +1, which annoyed the out of me because I had no business being around these men that she was bringing around. She always tried to make it a point that like I had to be with her because she needed to keep her eyes on me, but in reality it's because she needed that +1. And I was mean. Like, I wasn't a +1 where I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Like, no, I was just like, ew, get away from me. Very bitchy, very rude. And I felt like if anything, I called her out so much that I was surprised that she didn't beat my ass like all the times that she could have, because of how mouthy I was with her and constantly called her out on her that I'm surprised that she didn't put her hands on me because of how I was. Like, I was that friend where it's like, you don't want around, that they're gonna be the biggest cockblock, a vibe killer. Don't call her. That was me. But I don't know what was wrong with her that she like wanted me there. So Hennessy's trying to give me like crap, but trying to be funny, but kind of like aggressive, like in a bitchy me tone. And I really hated when he would do that because Hennessy came around a lot, and I really hated when Hennessy would bitch more than anybody, like bitch and moan and groan, like if he was pitching in, like he had the most to say, holding on to the bottle, like if he was the one who paid for it. Like I remember like when I bought a bottle and he had the nerve, like, oh, you want me to pour it? Okay, I'll pour it. And he poured it and held on to it, where I had to tell him like, give me my back, you pathetic little because it was just, oh, he was just one of those where he acted like he pitched in or he was cool and just doing the most, and it was just like, what are you doing? You're stupid, you're dumb. I don't even know why she even talks to you. And I had no room to talk either because I was like with the piece of shit. But still, I'm telling you, I give great advice for others, but I can't take my own. So she's like, yeah, we're gonna stop, yeah, we're gonna stop. And she's like asking me like, Alexis, do you want anything? Nope. Ooh, she's mad, she's upset, and just trying to be funny. And I'm like so annoyed because I just want to go back to the place, and I just want to knock out until I can go back and get my paycheck, because I cannot believe she really picked me up to do this stupid shh. And I am just so freaking annoyed. Like, I'm really like, are you kidding me? So she stops at the store and she tells me to get out of the car. I'm like, why? She's like, because I'm getting out of the car. Get out of the car. And I'm like, okay. So I get out of the car, which was a good call because then I would have been alone in there with them. So good call, Tommy. Good call. Good call. Good call. We're walking into the store and she's like, look, I know you're mad. I just didn't want to be out having fun and you be waiting on me, so you can go back tomorrow. Like, don't make it a big deal. Don't make it more than what it is. And I'm just like, because I am just mad. When I'm mad, I can either be melody or just shut down. And I'm just like, just in my head, I'm just like, oh my God, like, why? So she's telling me like, just have fun, okay? Like, I'm not like your mom. I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna do that. Like, just have fun. Just between me and you can't tell her. She's gonna call later on, remember? But you can't tell her. I don't want her to stress out. And if anything, you need to relax too. And in my head, I'm like, you don't give a if I have to relax. You don't care. You're only saying this and doing this because like you're getting something out of it. Like, I'm not stupid, okay? So I just look at her. I'm like, okay, Tommy, because I already know, and I don't want her to do something stupid and be like, okay, we'll get out. Or I don't know. My anxiety is like all over the place. I'm just like, I don't know how this person's gonna move. Obviously, this person isn't a good thinker if she thinks that it's cool to go pick up me from my job or whatever so I can go and have a couple beers with her. I'm like, okay, Tommy, okay. Just giving her like a half smile. I'm annoyed. I don't want to do it. And she's like, can you just make it a little bit better for me? And I'm like, I like that. Like, honestly, like if it hurts, I'm just like, because it does hurt. These people have failed me. They have failed me miserably. So we get the drinks. I get a snack, and I like to get those pizza Lunchables. If you ever want to surprise me, I'm happy with the pizza Lunchable. I'm craving one of those now. Pizza Lunchables are my favorite. I don't know why. I like to roll them up. They are... So I get one of those. I'm walking out with it. I make sure to hold it in my hand, my Lunchable, okay? My Lunchable in my hand, because I don't want it to get misplaced, and I don't want Hennessy and Scott to grab it and be like, oh, this sounds so good right now. I got the munchies. I don't give a bitch if you got the munchies. But I was just so fed up with it where I didn't want to be a good hostess. I didn't want to. Like, I had no business being a hostess. We go back to the place. She pops on a movie, and I just go straight to the room because I'm like, I'm not trying to be here to entertain the brother. Like, no. So she calls me. She's like, Lex, what are you doing? Come out here. Come on. And I'm like, I'm good, because I didn't want to. I didn't want to drink because in my head, I'm thinking of the worst case scenario where I'm like, we both get messed up, they take advantage, and what? And then what? Because I already know that Tommy really couldn't hold her liquor that well. My mom drinks like a fish, but I feel like she couldn't hold it that well. And I feel like if anything, maybe my mom was the one to have her on the toes most of the time. And my mom's not here. So I'm like, And then she's like, you can call somebody. You can call whoever you want. Invite whoever you want. Okay, this is gonna be a fun night. Call whoever you want. First person comes to my mind is Skillet. I'm gonna call Skillet. If anything, I'm cool with vibing with Skillet, and if anything, she can bark and be like, no. So I'm gonna call Skillet. So I'm like, I'm calling Skillet. So I'm calling Skillet, and I'm like, hey, like, can you come over? And she don't even ask any questions. She's like, yeah, I got you. Like, I'm gonna go over. I think she could hear in my tone where I'm like, hey, like, I guess people just know like a certain whine that I have to my tone. As I'm talking on the phone, I can hear Tommy being like, yeah, that's her lesbian lover. Set me off. So I'm like, oh, so now you're okay with that? Like, now you're good with that? You fake it. So I go at her like that, and she's just like, okay. She's so funny. She's so, yeah. And he's just like looking at me, and he licks his lip, and it's not even a lick a lip like your lips are dry. He licks his lips like if he found attractive that like I got like rowdy with her. And so I just like, ooh, I just go back. I'm just like, ooh. I knew from a young age how to spot a pervert. It's like one of those things, like as you get older, you can just spot them. Like they just have this look, this demeanor about them, where like you just know, like, oh dude, like you're a dog. Like that's just what you do. That's just what you vibe with. Like you're sick. Because he was her age. So the way that he was just like looking me up and down, like just, I could see that he was just like doing stuff with like his eyes, just looking at me. Like I would get that look from older men all the time, where it was so disgusting. Like I remember being at the swap meet and just going with my cousins and be like, oh, like let's go, like, you know, because my mom would let us wander off. And just like seeing how many stares we would get, it was just disgusting. And we just like run back to my mom because it was just so uncomfortable. And oh, he just gave me like a nasty feeling. So I made it known, like, yeah, she's mine. Don't talk to her. Don't talk to her. And they were like, ooh, I know he knew her. So I don't know why he was trying to play it up like, ooh, who is she? So I'm just like, okay. So I just sit down and just watch whatever's on TV, and I am eating my Lunchable. So as I'm eating my Lunchable, Scott's like, oh, you want to share it? I'm like, nope, because I don't. Because I don't like any type of like hee-haw, nothing. So I'm like, nope. I don't know how Tommy's bionic ears hear, but I feel like she was just trying to listen to everything, so that she was trying to make sure that everything went smoothly, so that Hennessy wouldn't be like, all right, well, I'm gonna go. Like, obviously we can see what I want or whatever. Because he would do that all the time, and it would work on Tommy all the freaking time, where she'd be like, no, like, I was just about to like get some da-da-da-da, and he'd be like, oh, for real? I mean, all right, I think I can stay. Like, the way that he had her, it was just so, where I would just be like, what's wrong with you? She just had bionic ears, and she's like, Alexis, be nice, like offer him something. I'm like, it's not my house. She's like, okay, but you're staying here, right? And I'm like, yeah, but it's not my house. So she asks him like, you want something? He's like, no, I'm just bugging her, just trying to get her to talk, you know, like, I'm just trying to be friendly. His brother was like, well, stop being friendly, she's acting like a bitch. Now I'm thinking, him saying that, I'm thinking like, ooh, Tommy's about to get him. She laughs. And I just look over at her, and I'm like, oh, okay, you weak bitch. So I'm like, I look at him, and he looks at me because he's getting kind of annoyed, because he's probably like, I thought my little bro was going to be able to, and I thought I was going to be able to, with her, you know, like, I don't know what this guy's thinking, but I'm telling you guys, my mind's constantly thinking. So I'm just like, so I hear a knock at the door, and I get up. Hennessy makes the comment of saying like, oh, it's your house? And I look at him, shut the up. I don't know why I did it, but I think it's because I knew that Skillet was gonna be there and we both could be crazy. So I was like, okay. And he just laughs and takes a drink of his beer as he's just licking his lips and putting his hand between his thighs and just like, all right, like that. Open the door, it's Skillet. I give her a big old hug, and as I'm hugging her, I'm whispering in her ear like, dude, I'm so ready to leave. Like, say that you need me to go with you or something. Like, I'm so ready to leave. There's so much I need to tell you. And so she's hugging me. She's like, all right, bet. She gets in. Tommy's doing the most. Like, hey, Skillet, what's up? Skillet's looking at her like, hey, because Tommy don't usually act like this. Oh, it's so weird when you see a parent acting like super fake, where it's like, please stop. It's so cringy. It's so pathetic. Please stop, because it makes you feel so unsafe, because that person is supposed to be your safe person, your safe zone. And you feel so weird when they start acting funny, where you're just like, snap out of it. Please snap out of it. Snap out of it. Where you're just like, ugh. So I made eye contact with Skillet. I'm like, yeah, like, okay, you could feel it too. Okay, cool. I'm not crazy. She sits down on the couch. She sees Scott. She's like, oh, hey, what's up? He's like, oh, hey, what's up? Doesn't even really acknowledge her. So I'm like, so we both sit down and we're just chilling. And she's like, so what's going on? I'm like, she's acting so freaking weird just because of Hennessy being here. And she's like, and she looks at Hennessy. She's like, oh, I didn't even see him. I'm like, yeah, like, she's trying with Hennessy. Like, it's so weird. She's like, why? He's with so-and-so. I'm like, oh, yeah? She's like, yeah. So she was with somebody that Skillet knew. He was with somebody that Skillet knew. So I was like, oh, okay. So I already knew that info. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to share it when a moment comes and he wants to get kind of rowdy. I'm going to be like, bitch, shut up. Go with your girlfriend. So I was already plotting in my head what I was going to do if this dude was not going to leave me alone or pick on me or whatever. Time goes on and there's not really a reason to be like, okay, let's go, you know? So time goes on and Tommy asks his Skillet, like, hey, do you want a drink or are you going to be lame like Alexis? Skillet looks at me and kind of laughs and she's like, I can take one. So she takes a beer and Tommy and her are drinking and just kind of like chopping it up and just getting along. Skillet likes this new Tommy because she's not being a freaking biatch to her, likes her and stuff, and they're just, you know, vibing, whatever. Tommy tells me that more people are going to be coming over and stuff like that. If I wanted to go back to the room, head out to the back room, that it's fine, it's cool, that this isn't what I want to do. And I'm like, okay, cool. So as I'm going, Hennessy is like, wait, like, you're not just gonna send her to the back and like my bro's just gonna be chilling her by himself. And she's like, oh yeah, you can go in the back too. And I'm like, no, he can't. She's like, yeah, he can, it's my house. She's like, stop being rude. I'm like, I'm not being rude. Like, why is he gonna go back there? It's me, it's Skillet. Like, why is he gonna go back there? He tries to make like a funny, sick comment, which I'm not gonna even repeat. And I just look at him and I'm like, you're disgusting. So I start walking and I could feel that like he got up off his chair, where he was a couple of beers in already. So I could feel that he got up off his chair, because like, you know how you could just feel like the stomps. And I just tightened up and right away I just felt Skillet right behind me and she just puts her hands on my shoulder and we just go. And I noticed that the brother came too, where I'm like, dude, oh my God. So we're all in the bed, the brother's on the floor and he's just sitting there like doing like nothing, where he's just, I think where I hurt his ego, he was probably like, this B, but I have to be here because my brother's here. So he's on the floor twiddling his thumbs. Kind of looks like his ego was hurt, which I don't care, but a part of me wanted to be like, you're okay, buddy? Because I really was feeling kind of bad that I feel like I was going too hard on him and being too mean, but I didn't. I don't know why, but I felt so gross when I did, y'all. Like, I still remember and I still get like this and you guys tell me like, Lex, like, I understand, but I really hate where it's like even people who are nasty and mean, that I feel like this sense of like I shouldn't be mean to, like, just because you're ugly and a pervert, like I shouldn't be mean to you. But yes, the shit, don't talk to perverts, don't give them like the no, they play on that, get off to that, so don't be like that, all right? So as time's going, we start hearing more people come and it starts becoming like a big old party. Everyone's there and everyone is having fun, and if they brought their kids, they're being directed to the back where we're at. I'm like super annoyed because Tommy comes back and she's like, you know, just keep an eye on them, because some of these girls are bringing like their freaking little ass kids, like little kids, like 2, 3, 4, some are even a little bit older, and we're pretty much being like the babysitters, and I was pissed. So I'm even more livid because we are having to babysit other people's kids, and I hated having that task on me because I couldn't just like chill and be like, F them kids. I literally felt like, oh my gosh, like if anything happens to them, it's on me. It's on me. It's on me. Because that's how I felt. I felt like it would be on me if anything would have happened to them. Like, oh my God, God forbid. So I felt like I couldn't even like relax, chill, any of that. So there was a mixture of like teens in that room, babies in that room, and just a lot of like nothing that should have been happening. I was so just like, I was so fed up, and I could hear Tommy in the back just laughing, having the time of her life. And the whole time I'm just thinking like, really, bitch? Really? Like, this is why I'm here to be a babysitter? Like, I just quit the nanny job and you're not gonna even hire me, bitch. You're just gonna recruit me? So I had so many mixed emotions. Skillet is just kind of like buzzing at this point where she's not really tripping. She's just like, you know, we were gonna be here anyways, and not really minding it. It's not the kids' fault that we were in that room, or that, you know, whatever. It wasn't their fault. So we had to change diapers. These moms kept coming in the back like, oh my God, you guys are awesome. Oh my God, like I really needed this. Like, it's so hard for me. Like, trying to like be nice to us so that we would do it. And even though they didn't even tell us, like some of the moms didn't even tell us like, hey, change their diaper, like could you, we just did it because like they just started to stink, like, and they just left their bags here like, oh, they're just gonna chill right here, I'm just gonna be over there, like just let me know if they cry or anything. I hate when moms do that. Like I hated when my cousin would leave her baby with me and I'm like, oh, like they're not listening, like they don't listen. They're like, you better listen or else no, you better listen, I'm gonna spank you, blah 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 blah, right? And I'd be like, I don't care if you give them a talking, like take your kid with you, bitch. Like what are you doing? I was never mean to the babies or anything like that because it wasn't the baby's fault at all. And I always wanted to make sure that if there was any babies left with us, they were gonna be okay. Because I feel like in settings like that, it's really easy for predators to prey on children because they know that the parents aren't really looking out and paying attention. That's where you really have to keep your eyes on your kids, is at parties. Don't get comfortable. Like I really hate it when I see like all these big ass parties for these kids. They're not for the kids. Like you're over there drinking, having fun, and the kids are like just doing their own thing. Like you're like, there's some parents that are on it and like will be drinking and be like checking on their kids, and then just some parents who like don't see their kid for the rest of the night, and they're just like, oh, what happened? Oh, he fell asleep. Oh, like I hope he had fun. Like that's when a lot of things happen, is at parties, because predators are seeing and paying attention of who's watching their kids and who's not. So you really have to be on alert all the time and don't ever get comfortable. And I've seen some people like, oh my God, it's so exhausting. Like there's predators everywhere. Yeah. What are you talking about? It's exhausting. Like it's exhausting protecting your child. Like what are you talking about? Like you can read that message both ways, where it's like two ways, where it's like, oh my God, like how annoying. Like they're everywhere. Or like, oh my God, I'm tired of watching my kid because of this or because of that, or this might, you know, happen. But you just have to be careful. So at the times I'm like, oh my gosh, thank God we were there, because God forbid, because there's lots of cochinos out there that don't give a damn because they know the parents don't give a damn. And a lot of kids who aren't in the talking stage, it's really hard to communicate what just happened, and they just cry because they can't express what is going on. And then you always think like, never my child, and you need to get out of that mentality, because why not? You really need to get out of that mentality of like, oh, not mine, or like I trust everyone around mine. Usually someone who does something like that to a child, it's someone close to you. It's really hardly ever someone that you really don't know. It's usually always someone close to you, so just be careful. You just never know. We always have to be on guard. We were stuck babysitting. I'm like at the top, like annoyed, not with the kids or anything, but I'm annoyed with Tommy, because I could just hear her having her fun, and I'm just like you bitch, like you really thought, like, ugh. So my phone begins to ring, and I already know it's my mom. I already know. Before I even picked it up, I was like, yup, it's her. So I answer it, and there's chaos. Imagine just thunk, 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 thunk. Everyone just having fun, kids crying, kids screaming, having fun, laughter, like a bunch of partying going on. It felt like the SpongeBob episode where he's dancing with the jellyfish. Like it was a lot of that. I answered the phone. They said, would you like to accept this call? Yep. So I already know my mom's gonna yell at me because she thinks that I have control of what happens, and I'm already ready for it. I'm ready for it. But low key, I'm kind of excited that Tommy might get her ass chewed out. Like I really am, because I'm like, I hear my mom, and she's like, hello? Pissed off. My mom was still like at 100, like always. So I'm like, hello? She's like, where are you at? What the F are you doing? What did I tell you? So she starts going off at me because she's probably thinking I'm out with my friends having fun. But little does she know, I'm at Tommy's and we're having the fun here. So I tell my mom, like, relax, relax. And she's like, don't fucking tell me to relax. So she's screaming top of her lungs, yelling at me like, didn't I tell you that you're not supposed to be out doing whatever the F you wanted? Didn't I tell you? And so I let her go off for a minute. So I'm like, yeah, you did. So she's like, so tell me why you think that you can just do whatever the F you want. And so I'm like waiting until she's done so I can be like, guess what? Knock, knock. So I'm just letting her go off. She's cussing me out. And she just telling me like, oh, I knew I shouldn't have called. And she's upset. Mom, can I talk? And she's like, stop talking over me. So I'm like, okay. So I continue just to let her just go off on me. And I'm contemplating on whether or not to hang up. But I'm like, nope, I want Tommy to get it. Like, I want Tommy to get it. So my mom's just telling me like how she's disappointed in me and that she is going to have Tommy take me to the kid jail because I just want to do whatever the F I want. And I just keep smiling, and Skillet looks at me like, you good? You good? Because I'm just like, and I have tears forming in my eyes because I'm just like, ooh, like I'm so mad. Like, you keep thinking that I'm just such a freaking badass kid, but okay, like I know I do some stuff, like I know I'm not no angel, like I know, but like at times where I was right, I was just so angry. Can I talk? Like I scream. And she's like, what Jade, what? And so I tell her like, I'm at the house, like Tommy's having a party, I'm not anywhere. And my mom is silence, and I'm like, hello? Because it's just, and I'm like, you know, fed up because I'm like, hello? And my mom's like, what did you say? They were having the party at Tommy's. And I'm just like waiting for her to say something, and she still asks me again, what? I don't understand, what are you talking about? And I tell her like, yeah, the party's at Tommy's, we didn't go anywhere. Like, she's having a party at her house. Pass her the phone right now. So I'm like, okay. So I'm going over through the freaking hallway. Everyone's freaking bumping and grinding, having a good old time, having fun, right? One of the moms has the nerve to ask me like, hey. And she tells me her son's name. Like, what is he doing? And I'm like, huh? Because I don't know that name. My son. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's in the back room. She's like, where are you going? What are you doing? The nerve that this freaking puta had. Like, the nerve. Like, bitch, you should be back there. Like, I'm not no babysitter. What are you talking about? So I'm like, he's back there. And she's like, where are you going? And I'm like, over here. Why? And I'm like, because I can. She's like, what'd you say? I'm like, because I can. So it would suck when these adults think that just because you're a child that like you owe them something. I didn't know this girl. I didn't know her at all. She wasn't my friend, but she thought that I had to watch her kid. People are stupid. People are so stupid where they think like you owe them something. You don't owe them shit, like at all. So I'm like still looking at her, and my mom's like, hurry the f up, like my time's running out. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like screaming at her, and so like mom sees that I'm like screaming like a freaking like, you know, like pissed off, and she's just like, and she goes to the back to look at her kid. She's like, I gotta go and check on him. No, I gotta go, because she's little bitch wants to come over here, like, oh, like. So I'm like, okay, this is the second person that called me a bitch today. Okay. So I run and I see Tommy having the time of her life. She's like, ha 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 ha, just like not a care in the world. Like, she's chilling, right? So Tommy sees me and she's like, hey, she's like, you want another one? So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, please keep talking, bitch, please keep talking. And I'm like, no, it's my mom. She's like, what? And so she grabs the phone from me, yanks it, grabs me by my hand, and we go outside. And so we're outside, and she's like, hello? Like, just talking to my mom, and my mom, I could just hear my mom. And then she's like telling her, like, I'm just having a little kickback. Well, I'm not dead. Like, telling her, like, I can have fun. I'm not dead just because you locked up. So she's like talking to her. She starts to walk towards like the stairs. So, like, I don't hear her. I'm like outside. It's kind of chilly. And I'm like, the door opens and it's Skillet. And she's like, you good? Like, why are you out here? And I'm like, oh, because my mom called. She's talking to Tommy. She's like, okay, like, you good? Like, you want me to go inside or you want me to chill right here? And I was like, chill right here. So she's like, all right. So she's gonna smoke a cigarette, so she gets out of eyesight so Tommy doesn't see her. She starts talking. She's like, talking to my mom, and then she passes me the phone, and I'm like, hello? The call's already ended. So I'm like, it's not like I can call my mom back and be like, let me talk to my mom. Let me talk to my mom. So I'm freaking irked, y'all. I'm like, I wasn't done talking to my mom. And she's like, okay, but I was. So I'm getting kind of mad because I'm like, okay, who is this person where all of a sudden like you are talking like this? Like, and so I try not to be mean because I'm like, okay, she doesn't have any responsibility like taking care of me. Like she doesn't have to. But at the same time, I'm like pissed off because it's like, okay, you said you wanted to do this. Why are you acting brand new? That sounds kind of messed up because like she don't owe me nothing. But I'm pissed off because I'm like, why is she talking like this? Like, she like tells me and stuff like, your mom's tripping. She's not gonna be out for a minute. Like I don't need to hear it. Like I'm tired of constantly hearing it. Like I'm doing her the favor by watching you, and that's all I gotta do. I just gotta make sure that you're not dead when she comes out. And I'm like, wow, really? And so she's telling me that pretty much that she's upset that I didn't tell her that it was my mom and how I could have at least played it off, and that why did I do that? Like I know what I'm doing. And I'm like, I don't want to watch anyone's kids. And she's like, whose kids are you watching? Who's telling you to watch anyone's kids? And I'm like, you even said it. And so me and her start to get to arguing, and we can see like smoke coming from Skillet, right? And so she kind of gets quiet down, and I'm like, it's just Skillet. And so she tells me and stuff like, you know what? If you want, you and her can just already leave. If you want to go with her, I'm cool with you staying, but like I really don't want to hear it, Alexis. Like I need to be able to just have like my own fun. And I tell her like, Hennessy don't give a about you. Like honestly, he don't. Like I can see he's out there hanging out with other people. Like I don't know why you're like so desperate. And she's like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, you're one to talk. And walks inside, and I kind of just like, I kind of smile because I'm like, ooh, bitch, yes, 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 okay, you're right. But in my head, I'm like, you're a grown-ass woman, bitch. It's different. But I get mad, and I'm like, okay. And I just like smile because I'm like, ooh, that's good, that's good. Skillet comes over, and she's like laughing. She's like, she got you there, and I'm like, she sure did. And so we just started smoking outside, and a few people come out. They see that we're smoking, and so they're like, hey, can we bum a cigarette? When I think about like how we probably look like babies, and we're like, yeah, sure. And we like give them some. More people come out. We're almost like done with our whole pack, and I'm like, yeah, we don't have any more. To like other people, they start getting kind of like, wow, really, you're gonna be like that? And just like, oh, it just like makes me so mad just how these people are so freaking annoying. So we only have like 2 left. I'm like, yep, that's it. And Skillet's like, yep, sorry. So we go back inside, and one of the moms has her baby, and she's like patting his back pretty roughly, and she's like mad that her fun is ruined. And the whole time I just keep thinking like, God, you're so pathetic. Like who does that? Who comes to a party? And like, how does she even know that like we were gonna be there? Like what if we weren't there? Like who was gonna watch the kid? So like I look at her, and she's like, are you guys going to the back already? And I just look at her, I'm like, why? And she's like, so he can go back there. Like, are you serious? Like, we're out here doing stuff. Like, this isn't where a baby's supposed to be. So I get mad. I'm like, yeah, so why'd you bring him? And so I walk to the back, and I can hear like, ooh, that little bitch. Ooh, that little bitch. Like getting mad and stuff. And there was like alcohol mix, and people want to get stupid. People want to get rowdy, right? So I'm like, because like the nerve of like, just because people got like some liquid courage, like the nerve of people just to think like, oh, just because me and Skillet were there, like we're some babysitters and some, just so like you can have fun. Like what's wrong with you? Like how can you trust a stranger changing your baby? Like good thing like I wasn't like a cochina or anything like that. Can you imagine? So I could hear saying, ooh, that bitch, ooh, that bitch. So there's a drink that's not open, so I grab it and I just chug it. Because I'm like, if I'm gonna get my ass beat, I at least want something in me so that like the hits don't hurt. So I just chug it, and I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I'm mad. I wanted to talk to my mom. I was missing my mom. I hate how things are going. I just want a normal life. I feel like I'm constantly saying this, where I'm like, I just want a normal freaking life. Like I hate it. I'm contemplating on whether or not to like go stay with my stepdad, because I just miss my brothers. I am like, this isn't normal. This isn't normal for a freaking teen to be out and be exposed to like so much of this. Like this isn't normal. I can still hear her talking, and she's getting kind of rowdy, and I can hear Tommy telling her like, dude, stop, like chill. Like that's so-and-so's daughter. Don't do it. And she's like, I don't give a damn whose daughter that is. And so she's still going, because you know there's alcohol in her system, so she's still getting rowdy. And I just go to the room. There's another room in the back that we don't go to, but I went to that room, and I took Skillet with me, and I slammed that door. Like, who the fuck does she think she is, slamming doors in your house? How you gonna let her disrespect you? So they're trying to hype up Tommy, and I'm getting kind of scared, because I'm like, These girls look like they can fight. They're a lot older than me. They grown. Like, these are cholas. Like, I'm not gonna be able to get crazy with all of them and expect Tommy to back me up. Like, she a little freaking wuss. Like, it's not gonna go how I want it to go, right? Kind of scared, but at the same time in my mind, I'm like, we've gone too far. We've gone too far. So there's no turning back. And Skillet's like, let's do it. Like, let's do it. Like, if they come in here, you make sure just freaking keep swinging, keep swinging, keep swinging. I'm tying up my hair because I'm like, yeah, like it's gonna get crazy, like it's gonna get rowdy. And there was like a few teenagers, right? So one of the moms that was getting rowdy, she was upset that I slammed the door, and she's like, why doesn't she want to watch the kids? Like, what the F is she doing? Like, she's just back there. Why can't she just at least help out? Like, I hate little mocosas who don't want to help out, blah, 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 blah. And saying that, like, what could I possibly be doing? And so I'm in the room screaming, not watching your kids, bitch. So I'm mad because I'm like, how, like, honestly, like, am I wrong? Am I wrong? So Skillet's hyping me up, and she's like, no, you're not wrong. Like, they're tripping, dude. Like, they're tripping. Like, she's like, it's because they're intoxicated, you know, like, your mom's crazy, like they don't get out often. I'm like, I don't give a Skillet, I don't care. And so I'm like screaming at Skillet, like I'm not fighting with her, but I'm talking to her like very loud, right? I'm like very passionate. So I'm like screaming at her like, I don't care. Like, I'm not fighting with Skillet. Like, she knows I'm not fighting with her. She knows I'm just like talking to her like I'm pissed. Like, I don't care that they want me to watch their kids. Like, I don't care. And I can hear them from the other room like, what'd you say, you little bitch? So I'm literally like, I'm like, wow, thinking in my head of like what my stepdad said, what Joe has said, what the ex has said. Like, I make people want to like hit me. So I'm like, wow, I do have this effect on people where like they want to beat my ass. So she's screaming and she's like, what are you saying, little bitch? And so I hear this teen that was in the room with us, and she's like, nah, ma, don't even trip, I got it. So she's like, boom, 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 pounding on the door. She's like, what the f are you saying to my mom? I was like, open it, bitch, I dare you, open it. So Skillet's holding the door like this, and so like she's like getting pushed. And so everyone in the house has been drinking way too much. It's like at 100, where it's like there's crying, there's yelling, like there has been little fights here, little fights there. Everyone's hot-headed. Everyone is thinking like whatever. And Tommy was complaining about me to some of the moms, so they were thinking like I was a little mocosa, which I was a little brat, but it was like, Tommy, that's between me and you. Like, you stupid bitch, what are you doing? So this teen wants to come in and, you know, talk smack to me and get rowdy. Skillet's holding the door because I think even Skillet is like, damn, we went too far. So she's holding the door. She's like, dude, and she's drinking, and I'm like, let her in, let her in. As I'm sitting on this bed, I'm like, let her in, let her in. Like, I don't care, I don't care. I wasn't drunk enough to not care. I was just so hyped up on adrenaline. Like, I just want it to end. I just want it to end. Like, like, I don't care. And the whole time I kept thinking, like, if it is gonna get crazy, hopefully Tommy comes in and stops it. Hopefully she got some and it just stops. So the girl ends up coming through. We'll name her Madison. Okay, so Madison was like, what did you say to my mom? What did you say to my mom? And so she starts, you know, getting in my face, and I was like, your mom's a bitch, your mom's a bitch, your mom's a bitch, your mom's a bitch. Like, getting so annoying like that. So she tries to touch my face, and I back up, and I was like, don't touch my face. Don't, bitch, I'm crazy. Don't touch my face. Don't touch my face. So I'm like yelling at her, and she's like, so what you gonna do? Like, why's your hair up? Like, what you gonna do? She starts tying up her hair, and I was like, bitch, what you gonna do? Jump. I'm like, bitch, I love it. I get off of, let's go, let's do this. So I'm like swearing at her. She's like tying up her hair, like thinking at the same time, like, this bitch is crazy. Like, what is wrong with her? Because I was like, come on, like, get me off. Like, I like this. I was telling her, like, hit me, hit me, hit me. I like to get hit me. And it was like the other teens that were coming in too, and they're like, yo, like, you good? Because I was talking crazy, because I just wanted it. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm like, I'm good. Are y'all good? Are y'all good? And so we're all just like, whatever. And Madison's like halfway, and she's like, yo, like, what are you on? Like, I was like, no. Don't try to bitch down now. Don't try to bitch back. Like, come on. Like, you all bark. Like, come on, let's go. And she's just like looking around. And you know the type where it's like she was waiting for someone to hold her back? Nobody was holding her back. So I'm like looking around. So I'm like, what you looking around for? Like, I called your mama bitch. What's up? What's up? I'm just making like direct eye contact with her. She just like looking at me. She's like, you're not even worth it. I was like, why not? Why not? We're not at school? We're not in public. No one's gonna say anything. No one's gonna stop us. Like, why not? And so I start getting closer to her and I'm like, why? Nah. She's like, you're drunk. I'm like, one beer. I just said you're scared and that's it. And that's cool. That's cool. I'm like, you's a bitch and your mom's a bitch. And she's just looking at me and she's like, you're not even worth it. You're not even worth it. And like tries to like go like maneuver out and like grabs her and she's like, nah. So imagine it's just me against the bed. No one is holding me back. There's no one to back me up. It's just me talking crazy to her. And she has like all this like little group behind her. So you would think that if anything, she felt more cool that she had more people. But I was like, come on, like what? You're mad and you want to beat my ass because I don't want to watch your mom's kids? You know how stupid and pathetic that is? Well, your mom's in jail. I'm like, yeah, because she's crazy, bitch. And she birthed me, bitch. So who do you think is crazy too, bitch? And so we're just like in each other's face. And she's just like, kind of just probably was like, oh, I bit off too much to chew. And like Skillet's holding on to her. And she's like, let me go. So she starts screaming. And her mom comes and she's like, let her the f you guys doing? And starts screaming all crazy. Tommy comes in. She's like, out, because we can't be in this room. We all get out of the room. Tommy pushes me into the restroom and is like, I need to talk to you. Pushes me in the restroom. Skillet like scoots her way in too, because she's like probably like, you know, like you ain't gonna yell, I'm a girl, right? So she scoots in too. We're both in there and I'm just like this, and then Tommy's like screaming in my face like, what the F is wrong with you? Pretty much telling me like, how come I can't just act right? I'm staying there for free. Like how come I cannot help watch these kids or like just be in there and make sure that no one dies? I'm like, because it's not my responsibility. Like it's not my responsibility. Like, cool, you're letting me stay here because you're doing my mom the favor, but this is what I have to do. I don't want to do it. She's like, why not? You babysit all the time. Like, what's so different with now? Because I don't want to babysit anyone else's kids. I'm not getting paid. Like, it's different. I tolerate that because I get paid. Like, I'm not getting paid, Tommy. Like, I don't want to do this. And I just start crying because I'm just like, what the like, why am I getting treated like this? Like, I hate that I always had so much responsibility because I'm the oldest, because I know better, because they just know Lex will. Like I was just so exhausted. Like, what the and she just wasn't getting it. Like, she kept looking at me like, you could tell she was like faking understanding, but she wasn't getting it. Like, you could just tell she was just like she didn't know how to react. Like, she was just like, huh? Like, didn't know what to do. And I just told her, I'm not getting out. Like, I'm not getting out of here. I'm not gonna get out of here. Like, I'm saying like I'm not gonna get out of the restroom. Like, I'm not gonna get out of the restroom. And I know there's gonna be people who want to go to the restroom and they're gonna be pounding on her like, either let me stay in that other room that you have or that's it. And she's just like looking at me and she's like, you really like can't work with me? Like, are you kidding me? So she's like so annoyed that like I'm not listening. And she keeps trying to, like, you could tell, like, it's on the tip of her tongue. Like, why the, like, this is why. Like, this is why your mom hates you. Like, it's on the tip of her tongue. Like, I can almost hear it. It's right there, but she doesn't dare to say it. And so I'm just looking at her, and Skillet's like, you know what? Like, I could just call so-and-so to come pick us up, Lex. Like, it's cool. And I'm like, yeah, do that. And Tommy's like, no, you're not going anywhere. You don't get to dictate where you can go and do whatever you want. Like, you're in my house. It's my rules. And I'm like, your rules suck. Like, you suck. Like, you're a horrible person. You're a terrible mom. So when I say she's a terrible mom, it kind of hits something with her. And she's like, and just walks out. She's just like, and just walks out. So I tell Skillet, I'm like, yeah, text whoever you got to. Like, I'm not staying here. And she's like, all right, cool. So she gets the ride for us. I don't even see Tommy. Like, when I walk out, Tommy makes sure to tell everyone not to talk to me. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me, because they didn't. Like, as soon as I walked out, once our ride was there, we walked out and they did not even look at me. Like, nothing. Like, the cholas that wanted to get all crazy with me, they were just like, the babies are crying in the room. Some of the moms were leaving with their car seats and their kids, where they were all pissed off, looking at me up and down. But that's all they did. Was like, if any did look at me, they just looked at me up and down, like pissed off, like I ruined their fun. You know how it feels to feel like as a child, like you're the party pooper, like you ruined it? I felt horrible. I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, I just got out of this crazy thing and now another crazy thing. We just walk out. We have those 2 cigarettes left, right? I just light them and get in the car, and we're getting taken back to her spot. And I'm just like pissed. Celia doesn't even say anything. The person that picked us up doesn't even say anything. I think that she told him like, hey, this is like crazy stuff that's happening. Don't even talk to her. Don't even look at her, because he didn't. Nothing. I didn't even care who picked us up, you guys. I was just so like, what the f, like, this feels like a dream. This feels like a dream where it's like, are you kidding me? It went from me went to go get my paycheck to this happening and us being with like these people and like getting crazy and like almost fighting with this girl, freaking Madison. And it was just like, kidding me? And I have so much other stuff going on where it's like, are you serious? And I have to stay with this person until my mom gets out, and I didn't even get to talk to my what I kept thinking like, what if that's like the last thing I talked to my mom? That's the last thing, is me handing the phone to Tommy and her telling my mom whatever. I didn't even leave with my backpack. You guys know I take my backpack everywhere. I did not even leave with my backpack. Everyone's gonna go through my things, they're gonna steal my things, whatever I do have left over, and I am just so emotional. I am just smoking a cigarette. Skillet was like, you want us to get another pack? I'm like, yes please, like once I get my check, like I'll figure out how to give it to you because I don't have a backpack on me. So we end up going to her house and we crash, and I'm gonna end it there, you guys. I love you guys so freaking much. This was a very emotional one for me. I think that's why I picked a fight with her, is because like I say, I don't share all the details because it's just so freaking much and we will be here forever. And then some things I can't share on here on this platform. It makes me so mad that I had to stay with her for a long period of time. And this was like a constant thing that like I was either fighting with people, she put me in harm's way, there was grown-ass men trying to like grope on me. And it just like infuriates me, where it's, at the time I think like, oh, it was my fault because I was acting up, I was being rowdy, I didn't want to do this, I didn't want to do that. A lot of adults did fail me, and Tommy was one of them. We're cordial and stuff, but even if she did get her karma or whatever, it really makes me mad. Like just the whole situation, all of it is just very annoying. And if you have a Tommy in your life, or if you can relate to a situation like this, please let me know down below. And I bet you anything there's a lot of people who are gonna be able to relate about having to watch other people's kids and they didn't sign up for it, because that was something that was very common. And it really makes me mad, where it's like, please watch your kids. Don't just trust anybody with your kids. Please watch your kids. There's a lot of very sketchy situations, and just because it's like, oh, that was back then, like, no, it happens now too, where I feel like a lot of people are very careless, or very like, well, like I want to have my fun too, or like I deserve my fun too. You do deserve fun, but there's a time, there's a place. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, okay, I'm just rambling now. I'm so sorry. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for all your love and support. If you guys enjoyed today's story time, please make sure to give me a big thumbs up. It definitely helps me out. It really, really helps me out. So I would appreciate it. Share the video if you feel like anybody needs to hear this advice, or if they can relate. I would really appreciate it. I love you guys so much. This was at the Lows. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you guys are notified. I love you guys so much. Bye.